welcome to a new episode of the New Leaf Podcast. This is a podcast about crocheting and knitting and basically my journey to becoming a full-time crochet and knitwear designer. My name is Carmen, I live in the Netherlands, and you can find me on Instagram as newleafdesigns.nl. I have a website by the same name, newleafdesigns.nl. My Etsy handle is newleafdesignsnl. On Ravelry, I am Caramelletje, and you can also find the podcast group as New Leaf Podcast in the groups tab on Ravelry. So it's been another 2 weeks. It is another Thursday, and I am happy for this to become my regular podcasting day once every 2 weeks. As some of you might know, I work from home on Thursdays. The other 4 working days a week, I still work for a company. But as of the start of this year, I work from home every Thursday on New Leaf Designs, which I'm super excited about. And so today I'll be sharing some of my recent makes with you. And as you can see, I am wearing one of my most recent finished objects. You maybe also saw some previews in the intro video. This is my Stephen West Speckle and Pop Mystery Knit Along shawl. And it's huge. I've been calling this, well, it's not a shawl, it's a beast. It's a beast. Just look at it. Whoa. It is huge. But I love it. It is a beast, but also a beauty, right? I cast this on in October when the Mystery Knit Along started, and I finished this just last week on Wednesday. So it's been finished for a week now, and I really like it. It's not really my style. So I've only worn it out in public once, but I did get some compliments on it. You know, where I work, I am already known as the crazy, knitting lady. They only say knitting, like crochet doesn't even exist to them. So I'm the crazy knit lady. And so I wore my shawl to work, and I really like the fading section, the kind of zigzaggy section on top here, but the spikes aren't really my thing, or the chevron border. It's not my thing, but I don't regret one bit of it. Since it taught me a lot of new techniques, especially in the border. It was my first time doing brioche. See, there was also a non-brioche option. And you can see the brioche right here. So this part is garter, and then this part is brioche. And it's the purple color on the front and the light pink color on the back. And I'm really pleased how that worked up. I did shorten the border by quite a bit, as it was supposed to be like super long. But as I felt, it didn't really suit me, I just cast off. And yes, I really like it. I used one of the official kits for this Mystery Knit Along, which was sold at Stephen and Penelope, Penelope's in Amsterdam. I was there for the Mystery Knit Along launch party. If you haven't seen my video on that, I will link in the description box so you can see it. It was a lot of fun. And the kit consists of 3 big skeins of hedgehog fibers and 5 mini skeins. Yes, and it's wonderful yarn. I have just a little bit left over, but you know, that would have been mostly used up in the border that I did not knit. And it's really drapey, and yeah, it's just really drapey fabric. The border blocked out really nicely because it was really kind of bunched up first, and you know, not laying flat, so after blocking it really looks much nicer. And yeah, I'm really glad to get that off my needle, since I am not really a shawl knitter. Shawls take me ages to complete, and I said to myself, I have to finish this shawl before I cast on a new shawl, because you know, it's kind of weird because I've been planning to knit a lot of shawls, although that is not my thing, but I do like to wear shawls a lot, so I like to add some more pieces to my wardrobe to mix and match. By the way, the other thing I'm wearing, this is knit, but not hand knit and not made by me. I just bought it in a retail store, but I liked it. It's a bit tricky to kind of find out how to wear it without, I want to show most of the zigzaggy section, as I think that looks nice. Oh well. So I don't know if you've heard, but there's a clean slate knit along going on, hosted by Caitlin of the Wool Jewel podcast, and which is where I got most of the motivation to finally finish this. And it just made me feel so good that I want to finish all the things now. And I don't even care that it's just a knit along. I am also finishing all my crochet whips, and that is feeling really good. As I've been saying last time, I have been working on my last Dance on the Beach blanket, which was a crochet along by Escapius in 2016, to which I also contributed a design of mine. Each of the Escapius bloggers designed one of the blanket squares, and I'm happy to say that I finished all of the squares, and that I finished all of the joining as well. So here it is. It's so heavy. It's so heavy. Look. Oh, I love it so much. And I love all of the colors. And let me show you the joining up close. I joined it with single crochets from the wrong side, so that it shows up as stitching on the right side. And I really like this technique, as it does take up more yarn than sewing, but I just don't like sewing that much, because you have to cut your yarn and then you can only sew with that, because sewing just with the yarn ball at the other end, that doesn't work, because you would have to thread the whole yarn ball through. So yeah, so crocheting is just, it just works for me. So I'll show you the wrong side. See, here you can actually see the lines, see the stitches. So that's what I did, and the pattern calls for a flat braid join, which is slip stitching on the surface, and you slip stitch through two sides of you slip stitch through one side of two adjoining squares at once. So you slip stitch through one loop of one stitch on either side. But as that is a very stretchy, well, not stretchy, but for me it was too gappy, because this yarn is heavy. It's merino, I think 50% merino, and then 50% acrylic polyamide micro mix, and but it's just really, really heavy. I don't know how many balls are in this blanket, but yeah, I think I used 3 balls per square design, and there are 12 square designs, so that would be about 48 balls. Is that correct? So 48 times 50 grams, that is 240 grams. I made a mistake. So 48 balls times 50 grams is actually 2.4 kilos, not 240 grams. I don't know what I was thinking. So yeah, 2.5 kilos of blanket, and but it makes for the coziest blanket, as you know, it's really heavy. I really like heavy blankets, and yeah, it's just really nice and snuggly on the couch. As you know, we have already been using the blanket, even though there is ends to be woven in. These are all ends from the joining, and I am still finishing the border right now. It's going to be a moss stitch border. Moss stitch is where you single crochet one and then chain one and then repeat, and then the following round you do the opposite, so it creates a really nice fabric. And so I'm doing that right now. I'm gonna see if I can stand back and show you more of this thing. Woo! See, it's huge, even back here. It won't really, oh, it does fit in the picture. Yes, but it's huge. And I really like all the colors, and it really matches with our living room, as we have a dark green couch with blue and yellow pillows. So yes, that is really nice. And while I'm back here, actually, I will show you the mystery knit-along shawl, Speckle and Pop, just while I'm back here, so you can see it in all its glory. Oh, doesn't that look fabulous? Ooh. Can't stop looking at it. So pretty, so pretty. So yes, I'm finally close to finishing this blanket, and I'm really, really happy, as you know, I've wanted a new blanket for on the couch for ages, and it just feels good to finish your WIPs. Especially because this project is so special to me and to a lot of people, since it was a tribute to the life of the very first escapees blogger Marinke, better known as a creative being, which was her blog. Yes, so I'm determined to finish this rather soon, and the border is going really quickly. I've gone around in probably less than an hour, so that's pretty good. Yes, and the yarn is Escapees Merino Soft, if you're wondering. I think this is wonderful yarn. It is super soft, and it just feels luxurious. I do have to say that if you, you know, it catches quickly on something like a sharp edge or a nail, then you pull out a strand really easily. So keep that in mind. It's really a luxurious yarn and should be treated with care. But I do think it is washable in the machine. That is machine washable, I think. So But maybe if you're doing that, just put it in a large washing bag so it doesn't catch on the on anything while being in the washing machine. Yeah, I'm gonna put this blanket down. I keep fumbling it, but it's just so tempting and so huge. So this is my second project for Caitlin's clean slate knit along, or maybe just clean slate along. I'm clean slating along really nicely. And I can't wait to get the next project off my needles because it's so satisfying. Next up is my to-go project, which I only knit at during car rides, I'm not driving, and work lunches. And this is my Mad Hatter socks. I showed you this one last time as it was finished, and I am working on the second one. This is the yarn ball. The yarn is inspired by the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland and is hand dyed by Hatter Sock WIP, which is a Dutch indie dyer. So let me show you my progress. So it's pretty good. I think last time I was till about here. Not sure, or had I even started? I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm getting close, and considering I only knit in very small amounts of time on this, it's actually quite reasonable. Although, it's going way slower than when I usually knit socks and just knit on them every time I can. But recently I have a new strategy when it comes to tackling whips, and that is to, when I have a project that is easy enough to knit or crochet on the go, that I only work on it while on the go, or TV knitting or something like that. Just because when I'm home and actually have the time to work on more brain power consuming projects, that I should actually do that and not knit on something that I could knit in the car. So that is my new strategy for now. I will see how it works. Until so far it has worked pretty good considering all the work I have done. So but I also have something really nice to tell you about these socks, as I received my Alice in Wonderland Mystery Club package last week, and one of the items in that Mystery Club package, which was also put together by Hatter Sock WIP, the same indie dyer, and one of the items in there was this cute little progress keeper of the bunny of Alice in Wonderland. So cute. He has this little trumpet right here. So cute. And also there was a needle cozy in there with an Alice in Wonderland print. Also in the inside. Yes, so this was also in there, along with some really cute, like, also with this cute stitch marker of a teapot. I'm not sure if it shows up. But it's super tiny, and it says tea time on one of the sides. And then it also had this huge charm in it, which I'm not sure what it's meant for, but you see this charm. It's the iconic image of Alice standing here in front of the Cheshire Cat, and there's a sign which says there. And here's also a sign, but the script is kind of very vague, so I can't read it, but yeah, it's really cute, but I don't really know how to use this as it's so big. So maybe it's a bag handle or something. I mean the zipper pull. It could be a zipper pull. Could be. Yeah. And of course, in the mystery club, there was also a yarn, and I had thought about what, you know, I imagined the yarn to be like, but never did I imagine that it would be a sock blank. And look at this! Oh my god, just look at it. I'm late. And it's a teacup and a clock. And the bunny, and here we're all mad here. I'm looking at the screen and reading it in mirror, but yeah, we're all mad here, and it has a Cheshire Cat smile. Oh, let me take this opportunity to, haha, Carmen. Yes, so then here another teacup, another clock, and there's Alice, and I don't actually know what that guy is, but I'm not too familiar with the Alice in Wonderland movies and books. Oh, that might be the Mad Hatter actually. It might be. He has a hat. Yes, so this wonderful sock blank, that was a huge surprise, and I have never actually knit from a sock blank, so this will be really interesting. And I've tried to unravel the yarn at both sides, and oh, I actually think I found it just now. Yes, this seems to go really easily, because I was testing both sides, and they say, yeah, from one side it should not be easy to unravel, and both sides were not easy to unravel, so I thought, oh no, what have I so, but yeah, I found it. It's here. The end was just hanging around and I could pull it, so yes. So of course this is gonna be a pair of socks, and I'm super excited to be how this knits up, as I have no idea. The base is kind of, the base color is really light yellow, so I expect to see a lot of that, and you know, the black will leave lots of speckles too, and I've never really knit with black, so excited to see how that works up. But yeah, I have no idea, so I will just have to wait and see. But I'll finish my Mad Hatter socks first before I carry on with this sock blank. Yeah, so at the top of this, I'm also doing afterthought heels, so I'll put those in later. And at the top, for the cuff, I will do a color work cuff, as I've been dying to try it, and it worked out really nicely, although I haven't determined the fit just yet, as I haven't really worn it, so I'll have to report back on that next time. Or the time after that, depends on when I have these socks finished. Yeah, so that's my to-go project. And then lastly, I have been working loads on my knit bathrobe working project, and it feels really good to work on it, although, you know, I'm not enjoying the knit per se, but it feels good because this has been just a project that I was really not feeling anymore, and I just didn't want to face this project I'll tell you a bit more of the backstory. I wrote a blog post last week about this, about admitting failure. You know, when a design doesn't turn out the way you want, but you still like to publish it. And you know, that has happened with the bathrobe, and I'm not sure if I went over this last time, but for the bathrobe, I had finished the yoke and the split for the sleeves, and I had done all of the increasing and it all fit perfectly, so I was really happy about that. And I thought, oh well, from here it's just plain stockinette down. And so I did that, but turns out, you know, because the bathrobe is longer than your hip, and you know, my hips are quite sizable. Let's keep it at that. So I kind of forgot I had to increase for the hips again. So when I finally tried it on, the bathrobe kind of just nearly fit across my bum, and then it just kind of stood open like a tent, and it was horrible. And let me show you the yarn I'm working with, which is super scrumptious yarn. This is the yarn. It's Escape's Sweetheart Soft, and it is just super soft. Reminds me of really fancy hotel bath towels. And although this yarn is amazing, it's really impossible to, well, not impossible to frog. It frogs quite easily, but it's impossible to really see your stitches. And the way I frog is I put in my needle at the row before I made a mistake. So I put it back in a row where everything was nice, where everything was going well, and then rib back to that point. But as I could not see the stitches, well, you can see some garter ridges, but it's really impossible to insert a needle all the way through a row. And yeah, I just wasn't gonna rip back the whole thing, and it wouldn't work to rip back to a certain point. So I thought, oh well, I'm gonna make sure the pattern is correct, because I measured that, okay, from about the waist I have to increase, and then I would measure which width it would need to be at the longest point. So say 80 stitches, this is bogus, but say 80 stitches, and then say I would have only 40 stitches at the waist, I knew I would have to increase 40 stitches, so that's 20 stitches on each side, from the waist to the lowest point, and then I would measure how long that would be, and then, you know, I divide the increases evenly across that length. So with that math, I can make sure the pattern is correct. And I just had to come to terms with that the sample would not be perfect. And as I've been talking about multiple times, I am struggling with letting go of perfectionism, and you know, that's okay. People can struggle with things, that's totally normal. So I'm just taking it one step at a time. So I really had to accept that the sample wasn't going to be the same as the pattern. And so I'm quite confident that I can make the pattern as it should be, because, you know, all the difficult stuff, the yoke stuff is all done, and that has been, you know, I have written that exactly to how I have knitted, which is the way I'm most confident about pattern writing. But these simple increases from waist to the bottom hem, I can do that without knitting it. So I was pretty confident that I could get the pattern to be correct. But then, of course, I had to fix the actual sample. Now I am actually already knitting on the, I want to say button band, but there won't be a button. I want to say the collar of the bathrobe. It goes down to the bottom hem and it comes up around the neck, and it is knit from the sides. Just, you pick up stitches and then you knit sideways, and then after how many centimeters you fold it inwards, and then you sew it to the body, so it's a really nice folded collar. And so I'm knitting on that right now. It's going really well, and but before I could do that, I had to do short rows to create a kind of wedge to make up for the increases I did not do. So here the collar is about this wide. I don't know if you can see this line right here, but here the collar is about this wide. I'm still knitting on it. But on the other side, see, I've knit this much. So here I'm also gonna allow this much for the collar. So say I am done with this now, I would fold it back, actually until this point. This is where I stopped doing the short rows and really did the collar. So if I turn it back and fold it and would sew it to that point, I have this much knitting that makes up for the increases that I didn't do. So to kind of close, to make sure that the bathrobe would close. And I've done that on the other side too. So here there's kind of a wedge. It's going smaller and smaller and smaller, and then the actual collar starts. And so almost lost a stitch there. Oh yeah, so it's the same on the other side. So I've done all of the short rows, which was not easy because I haven't done really that much short row other than, knitting sock heels and the occasional West Knits short rows. Yeah, so it wasn't easy, but also I don't have to write any of this up for the pattern, so it was just kind of a learning opportunity for me. And it wasn't that important how it looked, as it just has to look good in the photography and the photographs for the pattern, and then it will be done. And I was determined to still complete this work in progress and to still publish this pattern, because I thought, well, this will happen many more times and I don't want it to let me down, or I don't want it to bring me down. So I pushed through it, and I am going to finish this work in progress, and I'm going to publish this pattern, and I hope to be publishing it by the end of January or by the first week of February. As you know, I can kind of finish the pattern without finishing the WIP now, as I'm not knitting the WIP to the pattern anymore, but I still want to finish it for photography. And then maybe I'll try it again sometime and do a kid size, which is kind of more feasible, quicker to knit. I mean, So, so if I make a mistake, I can just rip back the whole thing and start over and be at the same point in half an hour. Yeah, maybe it would have been smarter to knit kit size. But anyway, now it's just plain knitting, well, plain other than having to change color. I'm doing kind of, is this called intarsia? I'm not sure, but I'm kind of twisting the yarn whenever I come to a color change so that this fabric is not split. Because if you don't twist the yarns, then you will simply create two separate knit fabrics. So yeah, so you have to twist it. So I think this is called intarsia, I'm not sure, but it looks good and it's easy enough. The yarn just gets tangled, so that's always a mess. But yeah, it looks really neat. So that's one thing that makes me happy about this project. Yeah, and it's in a huge basket. This is actually one of those clothing baskets that you can slide under the bed or under a couch, and this whip is just so huge that I'm using it for this whip. Ta-da! Yes. Oh boy, yes, that was most of what I've been working on the past 2 weeks. I have one more whip, but I will save that until next time. Yeah, because I feel I've been talking a lot today already, and quite frankly, it is my working day, so I need to also get some work done, and I am planning some big things for this year, and I need to start working on that. It's really, really exciting, and I can't wait to tell you more. But for now, I must keep quiet about it, which is really hard, but necessary. Yeah, so I'll be writing up a new blog post today. I'll be probably editing this podcast for a bit. I'll be working on some secret stuff and respond to tester emails and doing some other admin stuff. So if any of my colleagues are watching, I'm not just knitting and talking on my day off, okay? Oh well, they're kind of starting to understand what I actually do. I still get a lot of requests from people asking if I could knit a blanket for them and baby toys and whatever. And I say, well, I actually don't sell the things I make. And then they're super surprised, like, how do you get an income if you knit but don't sell the things you make? And yeah, I get that that's confusing for outsiders, but yes. Anywho, enough talking from me for today. Thank you all so much for watching and for your lovely comments each time. I wish you a very crafty 2 weeks, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!